Ramble.
Thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring this episode.
Put me in the chokey. Welcome to Guilty Pleasure.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that, Zach. That was funny.
Hey, thanks.
You
Today
did a
we're
joke.
talking about Netflix's Matilda, the musical, the adaptation of the Broadway musical. And to join us for just a quick little bit, we've got the one and only Keith Douglas Habersberger.
Wow.
That's right. I am
Quick little
here
piece.
because I'm a huge fan of Tim Minchin, who did the music and lyrics for Matilda on Broadway. He also did Groundhog's Day, which obviously, I think it was like something that started right before the pandemic, so it just had no opportunity. But I love him. He was someone I discovered in college.
Oh, we're diving right in. Let's go for it.
No,
go for it.
I felt like I was listening to a podcast. Go.
I'll
Yeah.
talk about him because he's super great. I found him in college on YouTube. I was just like watching videos from his specials. He's from Australia. And I was like, wow, this guy musically is so smart and talented, and lyrically is so clever and funny. And he does so much rhyming that is like a different style of rhyming.
Yeah.
Like he
His
does
rhymes are clever.
internal rhymes. He does like double entendre rhymes where it's not a sex joke, but this rhyme has like 6 meanings. And it's like, man, that's
solid.
smart. I mean,
Smart
just
writer.
like the most notable song, we are revolting children living in revolting times. We sing revolting songs using revolting rhymes. So that using, like he puts internal rhymes in the middle of lyrics.
But already right there, you got revolting with 2 totally different meanings.
Constantly.
Wait,
And
what's
it
the
works
second meaning?
both
Like,
ways each time. I'm
revolting as
We're
in
terrible,
Oh.
and then we're
disgusting.
also revolting.
Copy that.
And
Did we all
Cool.
speak at the same time and the audience couldn't hear anything?
Yeah, I
that
don't
we
think
said?
they could.
Try one more time. Revolting as in, disgusting.
Yep.
And we are revolting as in power
We're rising
to the people.
up against.
Yeah.
It's
Fucking
very smart, and I've just always been a huge fan of him. I think
Yeah.
he's genius. I think you should just go and YouTube Tim Minchin and watch a handful of different things. He's very politically smart, and like he has a lot of satire and actually addressing important issues. There's a whole song about canvas bags,
Hilarious.
but it's kind of being so like self-aware of like we should be using canvas bags instead of plastic bags, but also is saying we should do that. But it gets to be very goofy, and he puts a fan on stage so his hair's blowing in the wind as he's talking about how great he is for using a canvas bag. It's fucking brilliant.
How old is this kid?
He's not young.
Older
He's
than-
probably 42, 40,
that's young.
Okay.
somewhere in the mid-40s.
The closer I get to
Okay.
40, the more young 40 seems.
Yeah,
This-
I
yeah,
agree.
very close.
He has he's in some like actual serious scripted TV in Australia too. Like
I'm
he has a
sure.
show he's on as well. So he's just like very cool artist.
Feels like Flight of the Conchords as an Australian.
Yeah, they're New Zealand. They're Kiwi.
Yeah,
I
I know.
believe.
Yeah.
Like
How dare
they're just
you.
very
Oh,
different.
I'm sorry.
I also watched a ton of Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
Another huge inspiration. But I think that Tim Minchin is like the best.
So, Matilda the musical.
Oh my god. Clap it.
What a
Clap it the
tremendous
fuck.
film!
monologue.
Clap it the fuck up.
Oh, we're clapping for Keith.
Yeah,
Nah,
no,
okay.
that was a great
And the
monologue.
film.
Yeah.
And the film. Hey!
I was clapping for the film.
Oh, I was clapping for you.
Thank you.
I had not seen the musical. Wasn't really on my radar until afterwards when you made me realize it was Tim Minchin, but probably wasn't something I was ever going to see. You did see the musical?
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
No, I thought this was based on the original film.
It is. So it's based on the original film, the Roald Dahl book. I guess it's based on the Roald Dahl book. They made a musical that was on Broadway, did quite well, and now this is the film adaptation.
I did not know that.
Now you know my superstar show.
And it's really fun to see as a show because it's what you don't have a lot of musicals with talented children as the main cast, other than like Annie.
Those
was
kids
crazy.
were
How the fuck
fucking
they are.
talented.
They're fucking
They were very
talented.
sick.
And I will say the only critique I have of it at all
Wow.
is just that the lyrics are so fast and
Yeah.
specific and hard to say, and little British children, we aren't used to hearing their voices.
No, they're not.
It's a little bit hard sometimes
Yeah.
to make it.
Sounds
I also
fancy.
always
Thank God for
I think
subtitles.
Netflix has terrible sound mixing
Yes,
across
they do.
the board. On almost all.
British children and we're singing British songs.
Yeah, I just wish I could see it in a theater because I'm sure a real sound system would have handled whatever mix better than even a decent at home.
So wait, but you did see this on Broadway.
And it suffered the same issue of like children singing
don't know.
fast words
Yeah.
in a British dialect, and it's very complicated lyrics. It's
Yeah.
going to be muddy sometimes, but it was still like so impressive, and the musicality of it is so impressive. And even like the ending song where it's so fantastic, and we're like, wow, that musical number is fantastic. I felt that way when I watched it on stage too. I felt like they crushed it. The kid stands up when he does the whoa,
Yeah.
he does it on stage and everyone fucking exploded in the theater. It's so good.
It's all children in the Broadway musical?
All the students are kids.
What kind
I
of
think they
labor
have
laws
a couple.
running?
They have a couple company members who are like
Two shows a
small
night?
adults,
Right.
who are dancers. But yeah, it's kids, and like all the lead kids are kids, and it was like that was like School of Rock. It's all
I didn't know
kids.
there were that
Is
many
that
kids
the
in New York City.
is Matilda the same actress that is in this movie?
Doubt it, 'cause
No,
it was years ago. She'd be too
Yeah.
old now.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought that
No, they
this
cast this
Matilda
one
was new.
because
No.
I saw the TikTok of her receiving the news
It's
that
so
she was the
cute.
new
Oh,
Matilda.
that's beautiful.
so
It was very
cute. Yeah, no, the show is 6 years old
Oh, okay.
at least.
So we'll keep you here as long as we can. I'm gonna hit us with a quick synopsis if you have
Oh,
not
quick
seen.
synopsis.
Synopsis it.
Sorry.
Garrick just woke
What's
up.
the story?
He just
Yeah, I
realized
liked
he
it.
was here in this room.
What's the story?
Yeah.
Based on the Roald Dahl children's classic Matilda, stars a child named Matilda who has telekinetic powers that she's coming into, but she's the daughter of parents that are oh so mean. She goes to a school that's oh so mean. You got the mean old Miss Trunchbull who wants to crush children for the maggots they are and treat them. She runs the school like the prison. But then there's the sweet Miss Honey who sees the potential in Matilda. And in this one, you've got some added storylines. You've got Matilda hanging out with her library best friend and telling this story of these amazing acrobats. Perhaps that's and an escapologist.
Oh yeah, what the fuck is that?
And but also now it's a musical. This is motherfucking Matilda.
And you forgot to say she's a genius.
She's a genius.
Thank you.
She's a genius whose parents don't see the value of education
genius.
at all.
This is a horrific story when you really
Yeah.
think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was terrified of this, not this movie, the original movie.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid. Terrified. It was like a horror film to me. Parents that didn't want you. Danny DeVito
Yeah.
yelling at you.
A penguin
That's
screaming at you.
The chokey, like this movie terrified me as a kid, and so I was actually kind of nervous to rewatch this.
Oh,
I
amazing.
like was terrified that a childhood trauma was going to be resurfaced,
I-
but this was quite a joy.
I do think that in the original, that's like one of the first times I noticed how color and coloring can affect you as a person. As soon as Mrs. Honey is around, you're like, oh, this is so bright and sunny. Oh my God, everything is all
feel
peachy
good.
clean and all that stuff. You feel great. And then when Mrs. Trunchbull comes around, grays, immediate grays. And like, I feel like they up the ante in this one, where it just starts off literally
In the bright
bleached
yellow.
in a bright yellow
Yeah,
room, in
hospital.
the delivery room, and all this stuff.
And
you're
also, like the parents, they use the color of the parents to be like kind of upsetting colors.
Yeah.
They're like they're ugly yellows
it's
and
too
ugly
much.
greens. It's neons, and
Yeah.
they did that in the other movie as well.
Yeah,
like
they
this
did.
very gaudy color scheme for them.
Yeah.
This very optimistic color scheme with Miss Honey and Matilda's sort of imagination, and this incredibly grayscale, sad,
Oh my
like,
God.
World War II vibe.
Yeah, yeah,
that you're
full
getting
World
from
War
Trunchbull.
II.
Yeah, what year was this
I
supposed to be
have no
taking
idea.
place?
I mean, they had cars and whatnot.
It
and
kind of
TVs.
felt like, it had an antiquated feel in a way that was very delightful. It definitely felt like homages to Pink Floyd's The Wall with the chorus of children and the fascist type school environment.
Yeah.
From the opening of this film, I literally because I had heard people talking about it. Becky, your wife, texted me, told me it was great. I had another friend tell me it's like, I wasn't so into it. So I was like, push and pull, but I saw people on Twitter dash and praise, effusive, and I was like, what am I going to think? First number starts, and I literally shouted out, this is awesome.
This is great.
It's fucking great.
I love this.
We
And,
knew.
like,
We
as soon
knew.
as- yeah,
Garrick
and
was going to like this.
that's
And Garrick
Garrick,
hates every musical we've ever
notable
done.
musical hater, Garrick Bernard.
I am so
Loved this
sorry,
film.
Keith. I feel like I am the anti-Keith in this situation.
Most
I don't
Keith.
like all musicals.
Okay, I mean that's
But this one's really fucking good.
Yeah.
I'd be upset if you didn't like this.
Yeah, no, I think that this is objectively a good movie.
It's a
or a musical. Like
Matilda's a good story.
Yeah.
it's a really good
It's
story.
a terrible story. It's so sad. God.
but
We're
it's sad,
glazing
but
over
it's
the
a
fact that
it's-
this is the most fucked up. This girl is a genius.
Yeah.
A literal genius. She was never allowed to go to school.
Yeah, she was home.
It's Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter.
She lives in a fucking attic. She has no friends. She's dying
It's
to
how
get
they
out of
treat
her
gifted
house.
children in
Matilda
Europe.
is literally the girl who lived. That's all. It
Yeah,
is.
it's the same.
It's
Yeah.
so sad, and it is literally children's revolting against their abusive headmaster. It is a little bit Harry Potter in that way too, the number 5 book in 6. But it is a good story in that you have no clue what's coming next. You don't see you are taken by surprise every twist and turn of the way.
And that the story subplot.
The subplot. I was gonna get into that. She's telling a story the whole time about the acrobat and the
escapologist.
What is it?
What is that?
It's an escape artist.
Oh, an escape
But they're
artist.
She's got
calling
a
it an escapologist.
She's got a goofy British accent.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a word in
Maybe
Australia.
it is. Maybe it is.
You know, maybe this.
She's Australian?
Well, Tim Minchin is. I'm wondering if, like, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't forget.
Yeah.
An
So I'm wondering if
escapologist.
that's
A
a
good-
phrase that
God,
exists
God, I
somewhere.
hope they don't use that. But the whole subplot of that, and then her like realizing that she's also kind of psychic, I feel like, or like can read people's minds. And
Really
then
smart.
Really, and she's really smart.
Oh no, I meant really smart writing.
Oh yeah, really smart, really
satisfying.
smart writing. And when it came to a head at the end, where she's like, "Oh my God, this is a story about you. You're the people from my story, and blah blah blah. I think we should be connected or whatever." And you get a lot of heart-wrenchingness from Miss Honey in that exact moment, and you feel like immediately feel for her. You're like, oh, fuck, oh no, all of this terrible shit happened to you. And I
she's
didn't
this
know that this kind of happened to
niece.
you.
Yeah.
I just kind of loved you because of the original movie.
And you remember, like, I remember all of that from the original movie, and I still felt way sadder.
Way
for this
sadder.
one. This one was
the song. This house is enough song.
Was that not?
It's
Are you
enough
sure that
for
wasn't
me?
That'll Be Enough from Hamilton? Because that sounded so similar, and I was
Jesus.
It was
I
sweet.
You know
love
what's
that
interesting
song.
that we're talking about here too is the giant cloud that is over this movie, which is your expectations from the original.
Yeah.
Because you've got the original film, which we all love, right?
Yeah.
You've got the original Matilda, Mara Wilson, one of the great
We're friends on Twitter.
quintessential. Wow, fucking
should-
flex and a half.
Once
No
I was
messenger.
behind her buying my groceries.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
should have told her, come
No
on and
biggie.
do this.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did she
I mean,
move
that's
things
one
with
of
her
the
mind? No.
great child star performances of all time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it was really
You've got
incredible.
the original Miss Trunchbull, one of the iconic movie villains. You've got Miss Honey.
Bad.
Did I
Honey.
say?
Bad.
Yeah. It,
Sunshine
It
in a
started
bag.
a fire in me.
You've
girl
got
next
Danny
door.
DeVito and Rhea Perlman as just the most awful parents that ever
Terrifying.
were.
Yeah.
These are, you've got the chocolate cakes. You've got, I mean, just iconic.
The pigtails.
Chocolate cakes,
Iconic.
no,
The chokey.
The pigtails.
oh my
Chokey.
gosh, the pigtail.
Oh
toss
my
is
God.
The
incredible.
little
my God.
doll
They-
coming out of the
So,
house.
so all of these,
Yeah.
and you go, how can this movie
Yeah.
live up to them?
Yeah.
And it fucking
blew it
does.
out.
Blows it up.
I
And that
wouldn't
is
even,
the power of musicals.
And we're gonna have to break down each
so
one.
I think that because it is so different from the original, I wouldn't compare them. I think that they are similar in story and name alone.
It's
and
a-
then everything else is just so separate.
and very
And you
smart
could-
that he did that.
it's
It allowed
really
it to
smart.
stand on its own.
Stand on
Yeah.
its own, because it's just like, oh, did you watch Matilda the movie or Matilda the musical? And
Right.
that feels good to me.
But it still had enough where when I saw the girl with the pigtails, I went,
yeah,
that
here it comes.
scene's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or like when you see
Yeah.
the chocolate cake and
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Right.
I hope this thing happens. Like,
He was the one that was a singer, right? That was a beautiful singer.
Oh, he was great.
Oh, he's fucking
And then he's so
fantastic.
teensy.
yeah.
he's
At the end, when you finally see a wide shot of him, like, oh,
he's
a little bit fun.
tiny. I want to fucking
These
see
kids
him.
were unbelievable.
Yeah, the pigtail scene was hilarious.
the pigtail. I just gotta say, because the first one in the movie, the non-musical movie, you know, she's thrown, but then she glides through the thing and she catches
the
flowers
flower.
and she lands beautifully soft, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, no big deal. That's when she fucking lands
Thrown into a bush.
I was like, I
fucking
Next to the
exploded
concrete
when she
wall.
just hits the ground like a cannonball.
Rose fly out of the bush.
And then I'm like, I'm good. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Someone will make sure that child is alive.
Yeah.
She's alive.
It's so funny to watch Mrs. Trunchbull kind of like be like, yeah, I still got it. After
Yeah.
that. I was like,
We
oh,
got to
shit.
talk about the characters, right?
Oh my God.
Okay, I mean, who do you
Where
want to
wanna
start with? I don't
feel
know.
like we always skip over the main character, so we should go to Matilda.
Wait.
Okay.
Before Keith leaves, we need. I do feel like we need to talk about the songs. in
Okay,
this.
great.
Okay,
That's
okay,
Let's
okay.
just
Start with the
start.
songs.
Let's
Garrick
just
Bernard,
so that we can.
Wants
You
to
get a
talk
fucking
about
cookie.
Hell yeah! Where's my
Hell
cookie?
yeah.
Where's my cookie?
Here's an almond.
I have never. No, I don't want the almond. Get it away from me.
I'll take it.
I have never. I don't. I'm not the type, and this might be my adversity to musicals in general. I've never been the type to just sit through an album and be like, I like this album. I like this album. So I go and I pick through my songs and I'm like, all right,
He's
I like
a
this
thinker.
Song. I like this song. I like this song. Because like the things that don't hit me musically, I just get annoyed by, and I'm just like, skip it. I hate this. If this was an album, I would listen to it all the way through.
Are you about to
Wow.
Is Matilda a no skip album?
It's a no skip
Wow.
album. It's a no fucking. I will listen to that soundtrack. I'll listen to this soundtrack and the
I agree.
So happy.
this soundtrack and the Prince of Egypt soundtrack. And I know that's a weird thing to like compare it to, but I feel the triumphantness of it and Moses' story is pretty similar because he's trying to get these people, trying to get them to revolt essentially, and it's quote unquote the same story, but I do love every fucking song on this in this movie.
We can quit now.
That
That was the whole point of this
'cause it-
podcast.
yeah.
Surprise. Was to get you to like a musical now that you've admitted it. Come out, guys.
I mean,
Come out.
I like one, but from like you were saying, Zach, from the first song,
The singing babies.
is singing babies.
Singing
and
Babies,
as
yeah.
soon as
Miracle.
the doctor pirouettes through the doors,
Ah.
I was like, oh, I'm fucking in.
He's
And
cool as shit.
And then the one that sealed it was the
A, B, C, D, E, F, G song.
no,
That was
the
my
trouble,
favorite.
the
That was my
trouble
favorite.
song.
What's trouble?
Oh, a little bit of
A little bit of
trouble.
trouble.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
a
you
little
have
bit
to-
naughty.
Naughty.
You gotta get a-
naughty.
I was
Little
like,
kids
there's
like
a run
naughty.
in there, like a descending type of note run that I just fucking love.
Is that when she's on the roof doing a
On the roof,
handstand,
on a
singing
handstand.
to a bird? It's like, hey,
Into a
what's up? I'm a
seagull.
bird.
It's
And
This
I
one
just
was
love she's
more
like,
fantastical.
if your parents are dicks to you, guess what? Pull pranks on them.
pull pranks on
Yeah.
them.
And it's like, actually not a bad
Yeah.
moral.
Sometimes you have to get a little bit naughty.
New year, new lifestyle plans. I want to introduce you to Green Chef, the meal kit company that can help you achieve your 2023 health goals. They have got so many variety packs. They've got 30 recipes to choose from weekly, options for keto and paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. This is also the only meal kit that is both carbon and plastic offset. I love my Green Chef because when I come home from making this podcast, I am barely able to function. I do not want to have to think, and Green Chef is always there saving me time and energy, and it fits my lifestyle needs. So go to greenchef.com/guilty60 and use code guilty60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. One more time, that's greenchef.com/guilty60 and use code guilty60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
The A through Z song.
Fuck
So
me
smart.
up.
It is such clever wordplay where they're singing about the alphabet, and as they're going down, they will sing a consonant, or they'll just emphasize the dog. Like they'll
Yeah.
just
Here's the thing,
hit a
though.
hard D, and they'll go A B C D.
They, in that song, they sing through the A through Z before they start doing the tear around the school and showing the letters. That's how smart this song was. Is you don't even catch it the first
Oh wow,
time.
I didn't
Wow.
They
notice that.
re-sing it.
Yeah.
It's the second time that you're going,
Uh-huh.
A, oh
And-
my God,
and
they
then-
already did that song and I didn't even realize it.
The one that
Yeah.
got me the most is what they end on, which is they talk about phys ed.
Phys
and
ed.
Phys Zed, because Z in goofy British slang is
Right.
called Zed.
That's-
Oh,
Oh
you
my
clever
God.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
and
That's
they
like when they
set up
said
phys ed at
hell,
the beginning,
it's
and then
L.
you're like, oh shit, man, oh fuck, it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
They literally this
'Cause
entire
we're-
scene was to get to this
Phys ed.
pun.
Because
Yeah.
we're all sitting there, I'm singing, how the fuck are they going to do Z?
Yep.
How the hell are
Or
they?
Q, they did Q flawlessly.
Yeah, it's really satisfying. And as they're going down, they show you the letter, so it stamps in your mind as they're like, for S, and you're like, shit, this is cool.
That was breathtaking. It's like as I sit here and I think about it, I'm just like, fuck, man.
The writing.
It's so like. It is upsetting. The writing of it is upsetting. Where you're just like, I'll never
be that
in
smart.
my fucking life be that smart.
Then
and
Manuel
be that
Miranda.
talented.
Well, I've
The
been
death stare that Garrett just gave.
and I've known this about like Tim Minchin for so long that this is
He's better
what
than
he
Lin-Manuel
does.
Miranda.
Well,
Yeah, of
no,
course.
I mean, I like his writing style more.
Yeah.
But because he does things like that, where there are so many layers of cleverness,
Yeah.
but also the musicality of the song is really good. Like it's musically beautiful.
Bangers.
And then there's like
Bangers.
3 layers of joke happening all the time.
Yeah.
It's honestly like really well written rap lyrics sometimes. So they're really dense rhythmically. And it's like you don't get this kind of density in comedy music writing often at all.
Yeah.
And all of Tim Minchin's music has that density, and this musical, like Revolting Children, Be a Little Bit Naughty, like the ABC song, like all of these songs have such a great hook to them, like you remember them, and then they also make you go, wow. They don't make you just
learned
go,
something.
oh, this is good. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
shit.
so smart. It's
Yeah.
one of those musicals. The reason why Garrick doesn't like musicals, as he said many times before, is because the songs have no point.
Yes.
He's like, they bust out of nowhere. They don't move the
Yeah.
plot along, or if they
At
do,
all.
they're just kind of rehashing shit you already
Yep.
knew was coming. This felt like a game.
It's fully.
You
It's a
couldn't
game.
wait.
It's a game, and you're trying to see how this pushes the movie forward.
like watching a
'Cause
football game.
And then also, there's a
I was like,
fucking.
what's happening?
There's a whole song where it's 2 people having a conversation in song, and you're like, "Yo, how
Garrick,
the fuck did we get here?"
You're
This
going to
is-
love musicals. The good ones are good.
No,
The good ones are good.
That was actually really
And that's
fantastic.
what musicals are supposed to do. Like
Yeah.
in an action movie, emotion gets to a fever pitch where you can't, words don't suffice anymore,
Yeah.
and we have to break out in a song, and it should get you from point A to point B. So thinking about the Naughty song, that's like, it is advancing the plot. She's like, well, I got to do something about this, and through the song, she comes to a revelation, brings us to the next plot point.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Just like Dear Evan
Also,
Hansen.
even just the little things, the pranks she's pulling become runner jokes for the
Yeah.
rest of the movie. Like the
Yeah.
hat bit is
The
just a
hat,
runner.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a runner for the rest of the movie. It's
This
just
movie was so magical, and the music was so magical, and the like style that it was shot in was so magical that the things that were magical about the story felt like the least important.
Truly the least important.
I forgot she was gonna be telekinetic.
Well,
I was like,
it takes
who
an hour.
fucking
You gotta
cares?
do it.
Let's relax.
I paused it and I said, "What minute is this at?" It's an hour for her to become
Well,
telekinetic.
I mean, she in the original movie, she does get her powers late.
no,
Like, yeah, it's
she
pretty.
starts making breakfast and shit. She's
No,
pointing
no.
at it. Wee, 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 wee.
No, it's pretty late because like it's when after she meets Mrs. Honey or Miss Honey, and
Get it right.
she
Some respect on her
tries to move the glass, and then it's after the newt scene where she puts the newt
Not
in
as
Miss
late, not an
Trunchbull's
hour
mouth.
late.
Well, I'm going to tell
Maybe an
you
hour.
what I also, same as Kelsey, I was like, oh yeah, she's
like a
Okay.
Harry Potter character.
I definitely was waiting for it. I was like,
Let's-
maybe she's not going to.
Yeah.
I
Do it.
saw
I
a
would-
musical. She does.
I'm with Keith. If anything is supposed to be superpowered and you do a reboot and they're not superpowered, I'm fighting you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the whole time I was like, oh,
But
if
it
she's,
felt the least important out of all of the things happening.
it was as long as she was, and I got to see that she got to move things. I was like, oh, I actually didn't need
Which
this.
I guess in some ways is good that it was less important because her ability to win didn't come from her powers.
No.
It came from just
Her
being a
heart.
fucking
Which was-
badass bitch.
Yeah.
crazy
Which-
testament.
which
A
is
good
what I would
person.
put how I would put this movie over the original, because literally her powers was the thing that made her in the last
Yes.
And
And
it's
in
such
this-
a testament to the story. I
Yeah.
was fully in.
Yeah.
I didn't need the
I didn't
telekinetic,
need it.
and then
Yeah.
that was just icing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh right, that's in
Yeah.
this movie.
I was like,
too.
what is this serving us? Just the
Right.
chalk scene at the end, right?
But that was.
But then the
sick.
That
chalk
was
scene,
great.
the chalk. I mean, usually, I'm sorry, in the original, like it's just like, oh, she did the chalk scene, and then she made like the lights flutter,
Yeah.
and that was enough to freak out Miss Trunchbull.
Uh-huh.
And in this one, she fully made a ghost out of chains.
Yes.
And it was sick as
It was
Yeah.
fucking amazing. And then,
That
like,
was for
swung
that
her
was the
around.
reason.
I enjoyed. I don't remember if there's multiple. I don't think there's multiple chokies in the original, but like the
No.
it's just
the
the
good person being like, I have this, and the bad person being like, oh yeah, well I have this, and the good person's like, well I have this, and the bad person's like, well I have this. Like
Yeah.
you got like a bunch of like reveals right at the end that really kept raising the stakes when you thought you've already there were plenty of stakes raised at this point, but no,
Right.
there's enough chokies for every kid. It's like, oh yeah, well I'll make a ghost out of chains.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll wreck them.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you,
gonna scar you for life.
Kelsey, you mentioned this just briefly a couple minutes back, but you said the style of this movie, and I was astounded by the direction in this film.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I like full slack jaw.
Yeah.
I need you audience to hear me. I think that this is fucking exquisite. And I looked it up because I wrote in my notes, like the director, the set designer, they're fucking special. I don't know who did this, but this is something like this should be a star-making moment. And I looked it up. It's Matthew, I don't know how to pronounce it,
McConaughey.
Warchus or Warkus? What?
McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
It is the director of the musical on Broadway.
Okay.
Who is a super prolific theater director.
director.
He's done a ton. I will put some respect on his name at the end. But, like, wow, for you to come in, and this is your first big movie, he's made another film before, I could not believe the style, the shapes, the choreography, the staging, even just the attic. Sorry, Garrick.
No.
Even just the attic.
This is
that
how much he
Matilda-
loves it. He's trying to jump in
We all
every
want to
minute.
say nice things about
Yeah.
it.
No, but I'm sorry to cut you off. Please continue after I'm done. But I feel like because you love Spielberg so much, this felt like a Spielberg movie.
Wow, that's high praise.
I know, but
Spielberg dipped in candy because it was so
yeah,
colorful.
it was so colorful. But when we were talking about Hook earlier, the reason why we liked Hook so much is because it felt like a stage play
Yes.
film.
Fantastical
And
too.
it captured that same essence.
It's a child's
the-
imagination.
Yeah.
Well, and it's Roald Dahl. What I want you to, if you haven't watched it yet, or if you're going to watch it again, I want you to pay attention to the shapes in the frame. Even her attic has all of this, like, it has this wall in the foreground, and then this, like, not even triangle, it's like hexagonal, arching
Cramped.
around with all these hard shapes. You have, I mean, the color design of just the first open hospital scene, which is so campy and yellow and pinks and big colors, and then it becomes this Busby Berkeley number where you're just now in a sea of yellow with overhead the shapes that he is creating the entire film, like so
You know where
fucking
that comes
breathtaking.
from?
Musicals.
Exactly.
I was gonna say,
this is
And it's from old
British
it
musicals,
comes
yeah.
like the
And this
things
is-
you loved about the hospital scene with the babies being pushed
Yeah.
around and like the tables in the cafeteria. All of
Yeah.
that comes from
Yeah,
really
it's
good
staging.
staging.
And this is the joy of letting a musical director do his fucking thing and letting a musical feel like a musical.
Yeah, it felt like finishing this, I was like, I might want to go to Broadway to watch this musical.
Let's go to New York City.
Fun to do that
I
for
think that I was jealous of people who saw it as a musical first.
It might
and
be
I can't-
touring. I don't know if it's even
Yeah,
up
it's not on
anywhere right
Broadway.
now. It probably will get a revival because of this film. And I really wish I could see this in a theater and have the energy of an audience watching it, because I think it would really be fun. I think when you guys talk about like the style being so great, I think so often movies try to capture this magic for like kids' books and like Roald Dahl books, like even the Crazy Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that's the more recent one, which is so loud with color,
The Burton one.
but makes
Yeah.
you feel upset. Whereas this one is so loud with color and makes you feel happy and joyous and like a child, and you're like giddy at moments
Yeah.
with
what was
with
the
the
deal
characters.
with the Wonka bar in the beginning?
That's his production company logo.
Whose?
Roald Dahl.
Why?
He wrote Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
because he's
Factory.
written a
You
lot of
wrote
fucking
it?
Roald Dahl.
Do you not know who Roald Dahl is?
No.
Oh, he's a prolific children's author who wrote
wrote
like the BFG,
James
Matilda.
and the Giant Peach, Matilda. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
You didn't read any Roald Dahl as a kid?
I don't know.
Wow.
This is crazy. Rainie, did you?
You might have
Yeah,
to see how
for-
it's spelled.
It's like
ROALD.
Yeah.
You didn't read James and the Giant
GAHL.
Peach?
No, that
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
scared me. We've been over this.
It is really good though. It's scary though. I agree.
Witches, he wrote.
Also terrified the
Yeah,
fuck out of me.
he wrote a lot of creepy
This
shit.
man is fucked up.
Yeah, but he wrote dope shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of his stories have
You should
a
read 'em.
child going into a crazy scenario where some sort of evil dictator is in
Ooh.
charge.
Yeah, he liked to torture children. in
He's a
weird
scary
way.
British man.
But I think he captures that that's how children sometimes see
how they
scary
feel.
authority figures,
Yeah.
and they make them even more scary than they are. And also, authority figures teach children like idiots, and they aren't idiots. And like it, so it's
What
a
does
really
the
good
BFG stand for? The
Big
big
fucking
fucking
giant.
Is that actually?
Friendly.
big friendly giant.
Oh.
I was gonna say big fucking gun, but that's a Doom joke. Who cares?
I know that.
I forgot what I was gonna say. You were talking about.
We're talking about
Roald
directing.
Dahl.
I just like to close the loop. We'll talk more about directing, I'm sure, but so many musicals I feel like try and ground us in reality. I don't want to be in reality. It
Yeah.
felt like not since Chicago. That's a Best Picture winner. I'm gonna put it fucking up there.
Yeah.
Have I seen a musical capture the way musicals make you feel?
Yeah.
Spielberg did it with West Side Story, but that's obviously a more classic story that's meant to be in the real world. This wasn't afraid to go for more of an emotional reality, and
I hope it gets nominated for an Oscar.
It will, because it's its own
I'm-
musical comedy category.
That's
no?
true.
that's the
I
Golden
hope
Globes.
it does. I'm gonna take off. But I want to leave you all with something to look up specifically from Tim
Okay.
Minchin, and it's just the song "Rock and Roll Nerd." And I think he's performing it on a British or Australian late night show. But it is so good because it feels like it changes genres like 6 times, and it's incredibly clever. And it's like it's funny, but it's more like at the end you're like, wow, that was really good.
It's impressive.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, give it a watch.
Listen.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Bye.
Yeah, Tim Minchin sounds like a donut place.
Yum.
I don't know why.
Tim Hortons.
Munchins. Tim Munchins.
I came in, frankly, honestly, going to admit this, wanting to hate Matilda subconsciously because
Mara
that's not
Wilson.
my Matilda.
Nope.
Mara
Not my
Wilson's
Matilda.
iconic.
Yep.
Who is this little goofy British child? What the fuck? She is
Unbelievable.
exquisite.
Fantastic.
Her name is Alicia Weir, and that is one of the best out of the gate performances I've seen in a long time. What she does, emotional, she's lovable, she's funny, she can sing, she can dance. What can't that kid do?
Honestly, it makes you be like, some children do belong in the business. You know, like some children should work. Like I think about all the children that must have been in the musical in New York City. Like how many of them wanted to be there? How many were the best of the best? How many had stage moms? But like this girl should be a star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Starting now.
And then you talk about wanting, having preconceived notions. Miss Honey.
Ooh.
Oh, I mean, that is a
Performance.
well, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the original.
Oh,
Miss
yeah.
Honey, like that
Yeah.
is somewhat of a sexual awakening,
Mhm.
a comforting creature in my mind. She's a mega babe.
Yeah. No, she's like a mother. Yeah, makes sense. Checks out.
Okay.
She's a mother. You said?
Yeah, like she's a mothering school figure teacher.
bad
It
as hell.
makes
She's
sense
bad.
that both of
She's
you
bad.
would be sexually attracted
I
to her.
mean, well, she's bad.
Sure.
I think that's what.
What's she up to these days?
You're trying to Oedipus Rex this whole
Yes.
thing,
And she's just
she's
bad.
just bad.
So I come into this film and I go, that ain't my Miss Honey. And then Lashana Lynch gets on the screen
She's
and
like,
you go, no,
that
you know
is-
what?
That is my
That's my
that
fucking Miss Honey.
That's Miss Honey.
She is so fucking good.
She's so fantastic. Did she sing? Is this in the fun facts? Did all the cast sing? Because
I
if
don't
that's
know.
her actual voice, I am truly jealous.
I think no, that had to have been her voice. It was beautiful.
She is such a star in the making, and I don't
Yeah.
even want to say in the making because I think that she's made. Kelsey, do you realize that she's from The Woman King, the movie that you adored?
I was gonna say her face looks so familiar.
Yeah.
I would have thought she was in Hamilton because that song, I swear to God, it sounds like it's quiet uptown, and I really would have thought that was her.
The range that this woman has, she's in 007. She just is about to explode, and we are lucky to be living in the time. For her to have that, I mean, she anchors the movie with this just empathy and
Pathos.
sweetness.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's just lovely.
Yeah, it's
She cares about kids.
it's almost a because also when she's in 007
Yeah.
and I haven't seen Woman King, but I've heard that she's very intense.
Yeah.
in both of those.
I mean, she's a
In-
badass.
Yeah.
But
And
she's so
to see her
soft.
be so soft in this, it's just like, oh, that's full
And
range.
timid.
That's full, yeah.
and like kind of bullied
Yeah.
around and still stands up for the children. It's really sweet
Yeah.
because who would?
'Cause honestly, when I saw her as Miss Honey, I was like, I don't know if she could.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh.
And then she
Proved
fucking,
me
she
so
really
wrong.
proved a lot of. She stepped into some big ass shoes and fucking knocked that shit out of the park. It's
That's Miss
insane.
Honey now.
Bad.
Yeah, she
Bad.
looks great.
Fantastic.
She's South African.
Hell yeah.
Sick.
Speaking of big shoes, Miss Emma Thompson.
Oh my God.
Let's talk
As
about it.
Miss Trunchbull.
Oh my!
Let's talk about it.
I didn't even know that was Emma Thompson.
You didn't?
No, I couldn't tell. This
I
is
saw the
same thing
PR
as-
photos,
oh,
so
this is-
it was spoiled. But
It's the same thing as my guy as the Penguin in the Batman.
Yeah.
I still,
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. I
Farrell.
still can't see it,
no.
no matter how hard I look.
The makeup in
It's great.
as
Oh
Miss
my God.
Trunchbull, it was so real down to the literal hairs on her chinny chin that were flapping in the wind that you could see at any angle. That was the most realistic, like practical makeup effect I had seen on someone. That really like it
They
transformed her
had
entire
broken
shape.
capillaries in her skin.
Yes.
Like she was gross
You just don't get that.
and she's such a good campy villain. I feel like Emma Thompson has been on a campaign to just play awful women. She had Cruella, and she's like, I'm gonna be an
Cute.
iconic, terrible woman.
Just
Yeah.
be little weirdos.
I'm just gonna
I
be a
love it.
little weirdo.
She must be bored of playing like the mom,
posh woman.
Yes, the posh. She's like, give me some chin hair.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do Emma Thompson month. We got this.
We
Love
should.
Actually.
We fucking should.
We
because
should.
I love me some Emma
We already did
Thompson,
Love
dog.
Actually.
All right, we'll think about it.
Okay.
We'll just keep going. We'll
Still campaigning for this year's going to be the year we get merch, you guys.
We'll think
this
about
year
it.
will be Guilty
Yeah.
Horage.
My favorite details of Miss Trunchbull in this movie, because there were a lot of them. I mean, her as a hammer thrower, which I think that's canon in the first, but like, it just was fun the way they did it. But such a good staging moment. Maybe it came from the original. She's in the lunchroom and she wants to go talk to a kid, and she, instead of walking around, she walks in a straight line, and the kids all move the
Move out of the
tables
way.
out of. They don't just move the kids out of the way; they
Move the tables.
pull full tables
Yeah.
out of her way,
Yeah.
and that is such a good character moment that shows you the power and intimidation that she has.
Yeah.
and her costume, has to win for costuming because her costume as Miss Trunchbull was unbelievable. Her like steel-toed shoes.
It was kind of sick.
platformed. The back of her shirt had like a corset moment.
Yeah.
Like
I
it
was
was its
into-
own character.
I was into that look fully. I would wear that.
Oh.
is what I say. Like the whole look. I mean the casual
Militant,
down,
yeah.
like a tall boot with like a crew neck and the weight belt, like all that
I
whole
would
look.
love to see you in that character.
I'm into
And like
that shit, man.
that's a good video. You should get Eugene to do this, like fashion from Matilda.
We got Miss Trunchbull makeover.
But it's yes.
Yeah, I
Aaron,
would.
I want to see you in a tall
Make
boot.
it 2023.
I would run that shit,
Oh,
man.
I want to see you in platform shoes.
I want to see you in a tall ass boot. Can you wear a tall boot
Can
to
you
my
wear
wedding?
a tall platform boot?
No.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
My other favorite Miss Trunchbull moment is the chocolate cake scene, right? Like, how
Ugh.
can you top the original? And so her
They
cake
do.
is missing. And this kid burps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a full gaseous cloud.
Purple, sparkly.
Kind of looks like when you blow a big bubble.
Yep.
Floating through the air. It pops. And immediately Emma Thompson sticks out her tongue and goes,
And eats it.
and goes,
Tastes it.
chocolate cake.
Yes.
Chocolate cake.
And you know what's
It's
funny?
so funny.
Zach, in my mind when I was watching this, I go, Zach is going to talk about this moment
Yeah.
in detail because it was so good.
Howled
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
laughter.
Yeah.
It's just good details and good comedy. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Funny.
really silly. It honestly does feel very Australian. The humor of it does feel in a really weird way. I mean, I don't want to say Australian because it's more of like New Zealander comedy that I've seen. That is this level of slapsticky. But did you guys watch Wilfred at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you
that's
like
an
the show.
Australian one. But that it feels like that type of comedy.
Mm.
That vibe of like just a grown man in a fucking dog suit. And it's just like, what are you gonna do are you gonna act like a dog? It's like, no, I'm just gonna be high this whole time.
And this movie's not afraid to be silly, right?
No.
I really, and I wrote this in my notes. I'm ready to fight for this film.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fight for Matilda. I am so mad that this is just a Netflix release and is going to come and go and we're all going to forget about it because I genuinely believe with all of my heart that if Sony had released Matilda in theaters around Thanksgiving, I think that this
yeah.
would have been
Huge.
a runaway smash hit.
Yes.
I think that it would have been lasted in theaters. I think it would have grown a cult following.
Yes.
I think that this has the makings of a generational hit. Something that kids look back to and go like, oh, fuck, like this was one of the movies that I grew up on and I watched it a million times. I think that this is potentially star-making for the director, for the cast in it. I mean, Emma Thompson already is a star, but like Lashana Lynch should be a household name because of this, and people be like, oh shit, that's Miss Honey, I love her. And now I fear that this is not going to get its time in the sun.
Why didn't
because
it
of the
get
Netflix.
theatrical?
It's the Netflix effect. Netflix buys up movies that aren't going to be able to get distribution elsewhere, and they want you to watch it at home. That's what they do.
But why wouldn't have this been picked up for theatrical?
It's not like them saying no to it. It's just that Netflix outbids a bunch
I think
of things.
Sony had it, because I was just looking at fun facts. I think Sony had it, and then it was in 2020, and so they were like, we don't know, like there's just too much uncertainty about theaters.
So they just said it's better
Yeah.
safe than sorry, and like not getting to make it at all.
Well,
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm glad that this got made.
Yeah.
It just is such a travesty. And you look at something like Glass Onion. People have asked us to do that film. I don't think we're going to, but it was a delight. I just have no jokes to say about it. But
yeah,
like,
it's
a good-ass movie.
They do swell.
Watched it twice.
but it's like, that's a crowd pleaser. And Netflix only let it be in theaters for 5 days and then said goodbye.
Yeah,
And then
it's
AMC was like, hey, we would love to like keep showing that movie. And they're like, fuck
you.
you.
Really?
Yeah. Because they want people to keep those subscriptions.
That's wild.
I did see it
That's
in
wild.
the
That's
theater.
really weird. They're bullying them. They're bullying us. I want to watch things in theaters.
I want to
watch
love
things
going
in
to the
theaters.
movie.
I
And I
wanna
think
watch a
it's
big-ass
better
movie.
for the movies and then for Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you put something in theaters, it now has the chance to become a cultural moment.
Why can't they do like at least 2 to 3 weeks in theaters? Create buzz
That's
for
what they usually
AMC
do.
and then for Netflix.
That's what they usually
What,
do.
5 fucking days?
They do it for like
Because that makes sense to me. It's like, everyone go see it in this time period. It makes a lot of money for the box office, but then you get still the people that couldn't go in that.
Well, because at
Time
least
period.
for now, their model is dependent on subscribers. And so
Yeah.
you need to have something that is exclusive and gated, right?
Yeah.
But
that's
who
what it
they're
isn't
gonna be
subscribed
as-
to Netflix? Name one person.
They're losing subs.
and they're about to lose a shit ton once they
Why?
do the password sharing.
They've been talking about that.
Yeah,
for a
so
while.
they're going to, I believe, limit the amount of screens on each account and the amount of people that can be on at the same time.
Is it just because every single person in America has a subscription?
Yeah.
They've run out of
There's
ideas.
no more growth.
quote
Yeah,
unquote.
they're like, we peaked.
Yeah.
Well, and this is just like every company needs to grow or else they're failing, which is so fucking stupid and
It's
broken.
really weird.
How do we
They can
stop
kinda
that?
just chill.
Overthrow capitalism.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have
but-
a love-hate because I'm grateful that Netflix is bankrolling so many great pieces of art. Like, we're going to talk about Pinocchio next week. They gave Guillermo del Toro reign to do whatever he fucking wanted. You have Alfonso Cuarón making Roma, which is a movie that no one else was going to make, right? Like, so that's really cool, but I also want to see this thing on a big fucking screen.
This is, so I think that this, because this was already a theatrical thing and Netflix was like, we're just gonna buy it. This is really, I think, what they always aim to find, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's just like this feels kind of like, while also slightly missing the mark of Do Revenge, and how Do Revenge was kind of like this and kind of like this vibe and feel and tone, where it's just like, oh, we actually captured a generation of people well, and a generation of people that feel heard, and we can like aim and look at this movie to say, oh, this is what my childhood was like, quote unquote, if it was a musical, if we were singing and all that stuff.
I was.
And I feel
Kelsey's
like
the kind
only-
of person that puts subtitles on and tries to sing along with the movie, even though she's
Correct.
watching it for the first time.
Exactly.
yeah. But I always feel, every time I watch like a Netflix thing, in the same way that I feel about Canadian shows, I watch it and I'm just like, this is almost what I want it to be. This is so close to what I need it to be, but it's just not. It's slightly missing the mark. And then they buy Matilda, they buy Roma, they buy Glass Onion, they buy all of these movies that have already been made, and they're just like, this is what we kind of want to make on our own, and then they make it on their own, and then it doesn't work as well.
Am I wrong to say that the marketing on this was not it? Like, I did not see a single. I didn't know this was on Netflix. I had people tell me.
There's only one piece of marketing that I saw, and it was the single most effective piece of marketing I've ever seen for anything. But to your point, yes, I needed more marketing because I think, again, as I'm saying,
This
I'm
is
ready
fantastic.
to fight for this film.
It's a fucking fantastic
But the
movie.
one thing that I saw is a TikTok that went viral of the kids rehearsing the final number. And let me tell you, audience, thank God I was warned that that is not the entire film, because I would have been sitting there waiting, because these kids dance harder than any child has danced before. They are stomping down that hallway, and it got my blood fucking pumping. It got me
TikTok,
feeling
baby.
lit.
It's where it's at. But like it does. There was no promotion for it.
I haven't seen billboards. I haven't seen
I haven't
commercials.
seen a trailer.
No, I certainly
haven't
didn't
seen
see
like
trailers.
buzz about it on Twitter before it came out. Like there was nothing that made me realize that this was A, on Netflix, and B, going to be this fucking good.
Yeah, it totally took me by surprise. And when people started telling me it was good, I'm like, what?
Who said it was bad?
One friend. I'm not gonna name. I'm not naming
Out 'em.
names. I'm not naming names.
Boo. I've only heard good things.
That's weird. This is an objectively good piece of art.
It doesn't
that
have
friend.
that good of ratings on IMDb. It has like 7.3, which is fine.
That's pretty high on.
Oh, is it?
IMDb.
Okay,
yeah.
never mind.
IMDb, anything above like a 5 is. Pretty
Oh,
high.
it's full scale.
Only Chris Nolan films get above 9 on IMDb.
Oh,
they
okay,
really
okay.
do
It's
like
rigged.
shit on things, which is I think helpful.
Okay,
in
that
a
is good
weird
to know
way.
because I was like,
Probably
wow.
a more genuine
Yeah.
score as opposed to everything's 100.
Exactly.
yeah.
Right? Fucking, it's so good.
This movie fucking rips, dog.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put
This
it.
is the best day
It's-
of my life.
It is truly phenomenal. There isn't a single thing that I can say. There's not a single note I could give. It just every fucking scene and image and frame honestly just works.
Hardest I laughed.
The hardest you laughed?
Yes.
Like in a movie?
No. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, please.
I was starting to transition and then I realized you weren't done, so I stopped.
Oh, no, please.
Hardest I laughed is there's this scene with the adorable little Asian boy riding his bike, you know, the one I'm talking about. And then in like 3 quick shots, it cuts to his hand on a bike, like on bike handle, cuts to his other hand on a bike handle, but now it's a motorcycle, and now he's wearing gloves, cuts back, and this little boy is ripping a motorcycle
It was
down
really
a
a
highway.
little boy.
And it is such a funny visual to have, like, you know, they put like a motorcycle on a dolly behind a car or whatever, and they're like, this little boy is ripping a motorcycle while singing
He
so
does a
joyously.
wheelie,
Yeah.
and it was him.
Oh, it's so
great.
funny.
I was watching to see if they switched out for like a little stunt performer,
was
but
him?
it was really him.
No, they
That's crazy.
absolutely switched out for a stunt performer.
No,
what are you
I-
talking
Crazy.
about?
it was his little face.
No, that sounds
You're
insane.
so wrong.
I'm gonna look
That
it
can't
up.
be
You
possible.
couldn't be
looking
more
it up.
wrong.
They would
Kelsey.
not. They would not. They don't
It was
even. They
on a
barely
dolly.
allow.
The wheels weren't moving.
They barely allow Tom Cruise to be on a
no, the
motorcycle.
wheels weren't moving.
But I mean, just going back to the musical nature of this and like the stage play nature of it, there were scenes like that where I was like, oh, this should be a movie, and I get why the things like this go to the movies, because it's just like but productions like this go to the movies because you can do weird things like that, like cutting and a hand and a glove and the bicycle turning into a motorcycle. Sorry for that long-winded explanation. But I do feel like in the same way that Paddington 2 had like a cardboard cutout nature to it, this 100% had the same feel. Like when they're singing in the hallway and they're doing the alphabet song, for whatever reason, I know like, it's super choreographed, but for whatever reason, I could see the hallway being pulled away. Like you could see the set pieces of it, like the backdrop of it and the foreground of it, is like it felt like it was all on rollers for a lot of those scenes, and I was like, oh, this feels like I'm watching it at the stage or on Broadway.
Yeah, it was a very. I mean, I just adored the set design and the costuming and just the commitment to the look, even like the style of trucks they had. I mean, you brought it before, like, what year is it? Like, I don't know, but there's just a quirkiness to all the decor that gives it this otherworldliness feeling. The parents, who we haven't talked about, I mean, no one can ever hold a candle to the great Dane DeVito and Rhea Perlman.
tough.
Which, do you guys know Dane DeVito directed the original?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I had, because we had the VHS, he he does like a little wacky introduction for the movie at the end of it. And he was like, we made a movie for kids. We just wanted to, blah, 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 blah. And I would always, if the movie would run past its runtime, I would always like watch that at the end.
I love that. Well, these two parents, they're great.
Yeah.
And I love their costuming.
Why wasn't it
house.
Juno Temple as the mom? I wanted Juno Temple.
Yeah. The woman who played the mom, Andrea Riseborough, she just killed me. Every look that she made off camera, always chewing gum, like, because your father's an idiot, ain't he?
Yeah.
The other favorite line that I had is just when they first are introduced to Matilda, the dad goes, "You mean my son is a girl?"
Yes.
Yeah.
And calls her boy the whole movie.
Yeah. Until the end when he's about to leave.
Which makes it just so much more worse because it means he was just misgendering her the entire movie on purpose. But all right.
You ready for some fun facts? There are not many, of course, because this is a new release. I feel like we got some fun facts from that. I mean, I'll say one of the fun facts is just the director of this film, who is so accomplished in the theater world. I was reading about him last night. He has been the artistic director of London's The Old Vic since 2015. Huge deal in London. He won Best Director, I think more than once. Let's see. Anyway, dude's a fucking G.
What an upsetting, like, I feel like release of this movie. Like, you really had A-star talent through and through, down to the set design, or I'm not down to, but like across the board, everybody is super talented. Everybody is an award-winning something. And then for the pandemic to happen, and now it's just on Netflix. It is kind of unfortunate and disappointing. And
there's
I
nothing
hope
out right now either after all the holiday releases.
Yeah.
I feel like if you would have done it top of the year, this would have been huge.
Great.
Too.
I really
feel the
do
same.
hope.
I also, it just feels like we were robbed, and it was robbed.
They were robbed. Everybody involved with this was robbed.
Yeah.
And I really do hope that this goes up in the same way that Wednesday has. I really, really do pray for that because I think that they deserve all the time.
Okay. So this is funny because we were just talking about this. The film is set in a non-specific era, and we have a mixture of cars and other products from different decades, and that was done intentionally.
Oh, I thought I was gonna say like 70s because it felt retro for some weird reason, and like British school children's uniforms weirdly feel 70s. I don't know why. I can't explain. Don't ask me.
Oh, I did have one gripe.
What?
Oh, fuck. I'm so sorry. But at the end, where the whole thing where it's just like the dad's like, the mob is after me.
Oh, that was so funny.
It's very funny. It's like we all have to go. Matilda, unfortunately, you have to go with them.
Yeah.
They are going to hold you at ransom and get your parents back into the money. They're going to find out that you're...
The sequel of Matilda is Matilda versus the mob.
Versus the mob,
would watch the fuck out of
Oh
that.
my God.
Yeah. It's just very dark because she's just snapping people's necks with her mind.
Once again, we go back to the premise of this movie. It is dark as shit. We just add the humor in the songs and dance to make it not a terrible movie.
Grown-up Matilda snapping necks and taking names.
Oh my God.
Sign
Here for
me
it.
up.
Justice girl.
So we talked about how great the lead is, Alicia Weir. She's fucking amazing.
She's Irish.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
She would nail her scenes after only brief discussion or a few notes, and they said that most of the scenes that we see in the movie are the first or second take.
Jesus Christ.
She was so emotive.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's going to be...
Big girl.
She's going to be huge.
Big star.
She's going to be huge.
Good for her.
And then, I mean, hard to think about anyone else playing Miss Trunchbull other than Emma Thompson. She was so great. But originally attached to the film was Anne Hathaway.
Wow.
Makes sense. She loves singing.
Yeah.
She wants her chance to play a horrible, mean lady.
No, you got more years of playing a stuck-up.
Honestly, when I
woman.
saw that Emma Thompson, when I saw Mrs. Trunchbull in this movie, I was like, this is too young of a woman.
Wow.
So that's like really interesting.
Yeah, that they would have gone even younger.
They've been younger.
Yeah, but she reluctantly bailed on the project because during pre-production there was still a lot of uncertainty surrounding COVID.
That's fair.
So that is that. Now, my dear friends,
What?
Is the time for us to decide, is this film a
No,
pleasure
it's
again?
It's really
Shut up,
not.
Zach.
No,
Shut the fuck up, Zach.
Yeah, please watch it. It really like it means a lot to me apparently.
Yeah. We're just covering
Yeah.
that right now.
I
he goes to therapy
I-
next week. He's still talking about it.
I am jealous of anybody that saw this in the theater first. I'm jealous of
Did it
anybody-
play in the theater? I don't think it played in the
No,
theater.
I mean, on Broadway.
Oh, the theater.
The theater.
Sorry, you didn't say it correctly.
I'm jealous of that. I'm jealous of anybody that is around the age of these children or around the age of the first time I saw Matilda and watching this now.
This
because
is a
it's just,
thrill to grow up.
oh
on.
my God.
I'm going
Oh my
right
God.
back into musical theater if I was a kid.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies, like every now and then you see a movie as a kid and then you go like, oh, I just thought all movies were supposed to be that good.
Right.
And this is one of them. It's a crowd pleaser. It's big, it's fun, it's funny, and it's fucking well,
It's fucking
well made,
done.
man.
Yeah.
It's great. Watch it and then send us a thank you.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
please do.
And then tell your friends to subscribe to the podcast.
And then
Yeah, subscribe.
after you finish it, just listen to the soundtrack all the way through.
On Spotify.
Eric, did you do
Cue
that?
it up.
I did.
On the way out here.
I did on the way over here.
Kelsey, did you hear?
I told you we should stop.
This is
We'll never
wild.
get better than this.
Well,
I don't.
our
I don't
final
think you. I don't
episode.
think you'll ever be able to
Yeah,
top this.
I think we
You'll
should
ne-
quit the
This
podcast.
was. This
We're
is
done.
insane.
We're
It's
done.
insane how much I like.
You're
this movie.
done.
I think it could have been like a little shorter.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Just like a little bit shorter.
All right.
And it's kind of like, all musicals. But
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, a couple fat, sad songs. Let's get me the fuck
There's
out
a
of
lot
here.
of songs. 26 songs.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
into it
And
more.
the
Also, if I
musical.
never have to hear a child say escapologist again, I'll
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
be
I'll
better
be
off
right.
for it.
Also, I mean, we don't have to do this on the pod, but what is it called when two different singers are singing the same melody but different lyrics, and it kind of comes?
A duet.
Oh, no.
No.
It's Keith will know the name of that. It's
A reprise?
No,
it's they're singing at the same time, but like
but different lyrics.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I didn't know there was a name.
I tried to look it up, and counterpoint came up, and I was like, I don't know if that's correct.
I don't think there is a word for it. I am the musical theater stand-in when Keith leaves the room.
Okay, cool.
I make that rule.
let's hit us with our pleasures. This is stuff that we're enjoying in media. And by the way, audience, hi, hello. At the end of the last episode, I asked y'all to cyberbully Crocs. Not a single person did, which makes me wonder,
Bully
do you listen
Crocs.
to the end of the episode?
Oh,
do you
shit.
like?
Some people cyberbullied.
Yeah,
but
I
not
saw
enough.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, they tagged me in a lot of them.
Okay, well, I need to know, dear audience, do you like this segment?
New year.
Do you want
No
our
Crocs.
pleasures? Are you even listening? Are you even listening
Are you
right now?
listening right now?
Or are we just talking to
Do you
ourselves?
not want a free orgasm? Like, we're giving you gold in your ears.
Because
right
if I'm just
now.
talking to myself, I will still do it, but I'll probably do it different.
Yeah, I like hearing my own voice.
I'll probably just do it a little different. What are you guys watching?
I got to think about it for a second.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Wait, I've been watching so much. Obviously, the holidays.
I'm not
just
watching
happened.
anything.
You didn't watch anything over the holidays?
No, and actually, let me tell you guys while we stall.
Oh, I got one.
We're at the time of the year called we're all really busy. And so for the next couple of weeks, we're probably going to be watching less Guilty and more things I want to watch and won't make time for otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So join us
absolutely.
next week when we watch Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio because I wanted to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one.
Okay, you go.
So this came out a while ago, and it's already made like its run and all that stuff. And I watched it a while ago, and I watched it again recently. But Gerard Carmichael's Rothaniel.
I just watched it again too.
It is
It's
like
so
He's
wonderful.
hosting the Emmys.
yeah, he's hosting the Golden Globes,
Oh, that's what I meant. What's the difference?
and it was as somebody who does stand up. That's what you want to get to eventually. I know that it's like shouted around like, oh, it's just him coming out and all
No.
that stuff. But the way that it is done, in the same way that Matilda makes you feel like you're at the theater, that is the closest I have seen to how it feels to watch him live on camera. That is the closest I've seen on camera to an intimate setting at a stand-up show. Like
Can-
it is.
Can I ask you, did it make you the part of that especially that made me so fucking nervous was when the audience, like, I know he
When it
asked,
started, yeah.
but when they would just like kind of talk out of turn during his silences.
He's so good at that.
Oh my God, it made me so nervous. I was like, these people feel so close to him right now
Yeah.
that they feel like they can just speak.
That's
and
what
it's not
he's so good at.
heckling
No,
like
no,
a normal
no, no.
show.
It's genuine.
They're
advice.
genuinely asking. Like, do you think that your parents will ever, trust you again? Or it was just like very poignant questions.
And it made me go.
Maybe I should watch it again. You're convinced. It's so good.
Something
It's
about
so
like a crowd deciding to speak up makes me nervous because I feel like it's an effect where multiple people will start being like, oh, well, if that person said something, I could say something. And he handles it so well.
If I can piggyback, I mean, just a pleasure I have in life is the great Bo Burnham who directed that special.
Yeah.
And it, the direction is part of what makes that feel so intimate.
The
Filming
snow and the blue lights.
Yeah, and there's such an art to filming concerts, filming stand-up. It's a very specific art form that either you're great at or you're not.
It makes me happy that those two are friends.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
me
it's very
thinking
nice.
about them being friends. I'm like, giggity.
It's very cute. Yeah, but like there's a couple shots of like it's like a dirty frame on him, and it's like from the angle of somebody trying to peer over somebody else's head to see him, and he's just like bathed in blue light, and he's wearing red. It's just
so
please,
beautiful.
for the love of God, go
If you
watch
haven't
that.
watched it, especially before the Emmys.
Yeah, before the Emmys,
Golden Globes.
the Golden Globes.
Okay, my pleasure. That I watched this twice while I was on break. It's called The Volcano Rescue from Wakari, and it was a beautiful doc. Y'all know I love my documentaries. And it was about the tragedy in December 9th of 2019 in New Zealand that happened when the volcano erupted, and unfortunately, lots of people passed in the volcano rupture. It was like a tourist site, and it happened right before the pandemic. So I feel like it happened, and then everyone just kind of forgot about it. But this doc goes back to that story and highlights it in a way that the found footage and the way that everyone has social media now and the way that everyone's using their iPhones, the way that they use this found footage was so incredible and made me go like, oh my God, that's right. Like a national tragedy like that can be very intimately captured down to like the sounds of the audio that was on your iPhone when you were there. And it also highlights the true heroes of the story. And I don't want to give it away, so I won't, but it's a really, really tight, well done doc.
Amazing.
Volcano.
Volcano.
The Volcano.
This time of year, you get all of the great directors and writers making the rounds. Hollywood Reporter and Variety do like roundtables, directors on directors. Honestly, I forgot which one does which. They're just a delight. I watched Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun, talking to Rian Johnson. Fucking awesome. Saw a roundtable where Daniel Kwan, who did Everything Everywhere All at Once, was hanging out with Jordan Peele and just a million directors. Honestly, too many directors, and I wanted there to be less so I could hear them all say more. But those videos are just a delight. Dive into them. It's good stuff.
Zach, I just realized, speaking of Crocs, you and I both have sunflowers on our gibbets.
Sunflower.
Look at him.
Crocs, give us the other shoe.
Where is our fucking shoe?
Give us the other
is my
shoe.
shoe,
We can't
Croc?
Give us
match.
the other shoe.
Fuck is my shoe?
Give us the other shoe.
No one will answer me.
What
Give us
do I
the
do
other
with
shoe.
Their
this?
support system
Give us
doesn't
the
write
other
me
shoe.
back. Their DMs, they
Give
go
us
unanswered.
the other shoe.
The designer won't write me back. No one will answer me.
I'm at Corndy on all things.
I'm Kelsey Darragh at all of
I'm Garrick Bernard on all the things.
And until next time.
Give us the other shoe.